Hey there, good day. Jerry Usher here on Take Two with Debbie and Jerry. Jerry and Debbie, either way you want. I'd like to give Debbie first billing every now and then, even though we are having a little bit of difficulty connecting with Debbie today. It might be just me for part of the show, or hopefully Debbie will jump in here because this was her topic idea, and I think it's really an important conversation that we are going to have today about how we relate to a spouse who may not be quite as devout in the faith as we may be. So we want to hear: are you 100% Catholic or Christian? Are you all in with in terms of your belief in God, your belief in the church and the faith? But perhaps you have found yourself in a marriage. You love your husband, you love your wife, but for whatever reason, there just isn't that same fervor, that same level of devotion and practicing of the faith. Perhaps it started out very dreamlike. Maybe you were both really on fire for the Lord, and that's how you met. Maybe in some faith environment, and you walked down the aisle. You had that beautiful church wedding, and Jesus was in the center of it. And maybe one of the two of you has, for whatever reason, had seen that flame kind of dim a little bit. That faith of the flame of faith. So how do you navigate this? Is it frustrating? Do you feel a sense of loss? Is there definitely? I would guess there's something missing. In terms of just being equally yoked, as St. Paul writes. I believe it's in 1 Corinthians 6. Around verse 14, St. Paul writes, "Do not be unequally yoked." Well, I think he's mainly talking about, if I understand it right, entering into a relationship in the beginning with someone who is not of your faith, and it can be difficult. It can really be difficult, and let's face it. Human emotions being what they are, you might meet somebody, you're attracted to that person, you get to know them, you like them, you think, wow, this is just a great fit. And the other person may not be someone of faith, but you might think in your heart and in your mind, we can work on that later. Let's get the other pieces of the puzzle in place first, and then we'll work on coming together and maybe bringing that other person along in terms of the faith. Well, have you been through that situation? Does that kind of describe maybe how you entered into your marital relationship? And love to hear how that goes. I mean, this is really a frank conversation. It's just kind of laying some things out there to hopefully inspire and to educate. And there are a lot of young people. We hear from people all the time, young ladies, young men, who are still sorting out that vocation in their lives. And so maybe if you've had a bit of a bumpy experience, you can share that and perhaps help head off something like that in somebody else's life. 1-800-585-9396. 1-800-585-9396. And it doesn't even have to be a situation where maybe you're married to a non-Catholic Christian, and one of you goes to church in a Catholic church. Maybe the other one goes to church in a Protestant church or an evangelical church. Maybe you join each other at one another's churches. And also, some people do marry the love of their life who is of a different faith altogether. So maybe you are the Christian partner in the marriage, and perhaps you have married someone who is Jewish. Debbie was once married to a Jewish gentleman, so she has that experience. Perhaps someone who's Muslim, someone who's Jehovah's Witness, maybe an atheist or an agnostic. So again, today we're talking about, within a marriage, how do you make it work? How do you make your marriage thrive, actually? Or maybe just survive? I don't know. Maybe you feel like you're just hanging on and just beseeching God, please bring about the conversion of my wife, of my husband. Maybe you're the one who's not so devout in your faith, and you've got the spouse who's trying to really encourage you in the direction of a stronger faith. 1-800-585-9396. I see phone lines filling up right now. We're working on getting Debbie on the program today, so say a little prayer that we get that technical glitch figured out. You could also text the letters EWTN to 55000, and we'll read your text on the air. We are streaming live video on YouTube and EWTN Catholic Radio on Facebook, so you can comment there and also ask your questions. But do dial in. I see a couple of open phone lines still. 800-585-9396.
Celebrating 100 years of Fatima with Monsignor Charles Pope.
In August of 1917, Our Lady said to the children at Fatima, "Pray, pray very much, and make sacrifices for sinners, for many souls go to hell, because there are none to sacrifice themselves and pray for them." We live in times where many people think nobody's going to hell, but the children actually saw hell. Our Lady showed them hell, and that there were many, many souls there. We have to accept that, sadly, many have chosen against God. Can we pray for their conversion? Our Lady simply says, "Pray, pray, many souls go to hell because no one prays for them." Are we willing to pray for them? Do we have the same urgency that Our Lady and our Lord does for the souls who are on that wide road leading to damnation? Pray for them every day. Our Lady asks us, pray for the conversion of sinners.
Join EWTN as we celebrate the 100th anniversary of Fatima. Visit EWTN.com/Fatima.
Missing Catholic radio in your area? Heed God's call to get involved and start a Catholic radio station. Contact Jack Williams, 205-795-5756, or email jwilliams@EWTN.com.
We know you like listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, but have you thought about bringing them to your next event? No matter what type of event you're hosting, parish mission, conference, or retreat, trust Jerry and Debbie to make it come alive. Begin the process today of taking your presentation to the next level of success. For information on booking Jerry and Debbie, visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo.
Hello, this is Bishop Robert Baker from the Diocese of Birmingham in Alabama.
I'm Peggy Normandin, but you can call me Catholic.
Hello, friends. This is Father Wade Menezes of the Fathers of Mercy. Thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Take Two with Jerry and soon to be Debbie. We're getting Debbie on the air right now. 1-800-585-9396. Again today, talking about being totally 100% all in Catholic, or maybe a Christian, another Christian tradition. Maybe you're not Catholic, but you can relate to what we're talking about today, and that is being in a marriage where one of the two of you is, maybe you're just like, your faith is everything to you. You live it. You want to practice it. You want to draw closer to God, spend time in prayer, go to church. If you're Catholic, you want to pray the rosary, gather the family in the evening, and maybe your spouse, maybe there just isn't that buy-in. Okay, and we're talking about this because obviously, of all human relationships, marriage is certainly the most important. It's the family unit, and as it says, the two become one flesh. And the two also need to be of one mind and one heart. And that is what we're talking about today. And we've got Debbie on the line, I think by phone right now. Debbie, are you there? Nope. Debbie just dropped off.
Yes, I'm actually I'm actually here twice.
Okay. You're there by Comrex, not by phone. Okay.
I was on but the phone, and I'm listening by the phone, and then all of a sudden the unit that we use, the Comrex to connect, it just came on as well, and then of course Rich Jesse was hilarious. He said, "Is that by location?" I said, "No, it's just the same thing." But actually, while you were talking, Jerry, I was listening to you on YouTube, and I was not taking a glimpse of the eclipse. Not. I don't like
so
that's
many. Right, yeah.
Yes, because so many are have those glasses and everything, and it's making me nervous. I actually kept my husband home today, and as a matter of fact, one of our windows faces east, and it's coming in through the window, and I was like, "Oh Lord, please, I don't want any eye damage."
Yeah, folks, everybody be careful with that. For me, Debbie, it's not. I mean, it's interesting. I know it's an historic occurrence and all that, but I didn't go to bed thinking about it or even wake up thinking about it. So you've jogged my memory.
Yeah, well, actually, Jerry, they said the glasses have sold out, and a lot of the glasses are not 99.9% protection. So be careful. I mean, there's a lot of people that really feel that they can just look at it with their sunglasses, and that's not true. It can cause serious eye damage. That's why I kept my husband home. The dog is inside. We've got the blinds drawn, so we're like. We're totally in the dark.
You're holed up. Well, hey, Debbie, I did my very best to set up the topic today, and I know you were listening. But before we get to the calls, by the way, folks, 1-800-585-9396. Go ahead and give your perspective on today's discussion.
About being 100% Catholic in the
and
marriage
what you had in mind, for this topic. Yeah.
Well, actually, I had in mind because I think you shared it. I heard it on YouTube, Jerry, that I was married to a Jewish man, and let me tell you, it was phenomenal. I felt like I was walking through the Old Testament the entire marriage, and it was. Every time I went into a synagogue or a temple, it was incredible to really understand the Jewish faith and to kind of go through what Jesus went through, and because he was a good Jew. And so it was amazing. My husband at the time actually knew quite a bit about Catholicism. And as a matter of fact, he even used to come with me to religious education and would sub in some of the classes. That's how much he knew about our Catholic faith. However, I will tell you that there was a real disconnect, obviously. Do I think he, in his heart, believed in Jesus? Absolutely. But culturally, he would never convert because it's a family thing, and it would be in some way a dishonor to the family. And so there was always this disconnect that Jesus was really a stumbling block between us. And it was hard sometimes because I would come home just exuberant, filled with the faith, going to Mass. We would go to Mass together. I would be talking about Mass, and he'd be like, "Can we be done now?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, can we be done now?" "Well, if football's on." And I'm like, "Really? You want to talk about football and not?" And so now, with the beautiful sacrament of matrimony that I have with Marty's Catholic. He loves embracing and talking about the faith. I love it as well, as you know. And so we have that so much in common. I believe that's what Paul was talking about when he cautioned us about being unevenly yoked in a relationship. And so that's where this comes from, this topic today, Jerry. And I know, believe me, I know, because I've lived it, Jerry. When you're in love, you think everything's going to work out, and you can just, it's all going to just magically happen and unfold beautifully because you're in love. But it doesn't always happen that way. And our faith should be the most important thing, and the prime focus, especially in a marriage. And so that's where this came from, and I just would love to hear what our listeners have to say in their relationships, especially if they have an interfaith relationship or somebody who's another Christian but a different faith.
All right, again, 1-800-585-9396. Dear listeners, as always, today's topic is another one of those where you might feel a little hesitant to call in because maybe you find yourself in a relationship where there isn't that spiritual union, that faith union, and we're not asking people to call up and say, "Oh gosh, it's just a horrible situation." We just really want an objective conversation here. It's not shining a light on a bad situation. We just want to hear how you maintain and maybe stay strong in your faith, and you're encouraging your spouse. I mean, this is really, Debbie, it can be a very constructive, productive conversation, and the way that other people learn by those who call in is just is really important every day. So, folks, get a hold of us. Let us know what you've lived through and are living right now with regard to today's topic.
1-800-585-9396. Now, we know, we joked about it before the show. We know that you're probably at an eclipse viewing or talking with friends about it or trying to put on those glasses and sneak a peek at it. But you know what? That honestly, when you look at it, is that really important? The conversations like we're having right now, this can change the direction of your faith. This can help you. This can set the stage for eternity. I mean, watching an eclipse, come on. And not to mention that, you know how I feel about it, Jerry. It can cause severe eye damage. So I wouldn't waste your time. I would call in to Take Two at 1-800-585-9396.
Well, from what I understand, where I live anyway, it's not supposed to happen for another hour anyway. So no excuse for you to not be calling. All right, let's get to these calls here. Thank you so much for your patience and your participation. We're going to learn a lot today, I know, starting with Linda in Boston on the Station of the Cross. Linda, you called first, so you get to go first here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hello, Linda. Welcome.
Yes, hello. How are you?
Doing well, Linda. Appreciate your call and your patience there. What are your thoughts on this discussion today?
Oh, my thoughts. This has been going on for a while between my husband and I. I have some good news for the listeners. We're both Catholics. Actually, we just were Protestant for a long period of time, and I discovered the beauty of the Catholic Church less than a year ago. And my husband, praise God, tagged along with me and found the same love of the Eucharist and the way the church worships. But I love Mass. I go to Mass a lot. My husband thinks I'm going to become a saint one day. But I do wait for him on Sundays. It depends how he feels. If he wakes up tired, he will attend. If he doesn't attend, if he feels refreshed, he will attend. And I so bad want to tell him that's not how for spa. You just go and enter in. But I step back because we used to have these arguments before in the Protestant faith where he wouldn't attend. So when he does attend, I am thrilled. I'm happy to see him enjoying the fellowship. But I long for a connection with him where I can come home and talk to him about the Mass or what I've learned. And I've been having some devotion time with Our Lady, which is very new to me, which I really can't talk to him about. But God has put a best friend of mine. She also went back home to the Catholic faith. So that is my spiritual partner for now. We talk a lot. So thank God for her. She has encouraged me, and we've encouraged each other.
Linda, real quick, it sounds like your husband is not like antagonistic in any way toward the faith or toward you practicing it. It sounds like maybe it's just sort of a personal choice if he's just not really up to going or something. Is there any obstacle or any objection to you doing what you do?
Oh no.
Okay, good.
He encourages me, but I used to say, I used to ask him on Saturdays, do you think you want to come on for Sundays? And my heart would just be saddened because, the response would be the same, well, maybe I'll wait and see how I feel. And my spirit was saddened. So I just get ready, and he knows that I'm going, and then he'll say to me, okay, I'm going to take a shower and go. So I try not to let my emotions fluctuate, get too excited or too depressed about it. Just if he wants to come, that's where I'll be. And we still have children, which is kind of difficult.
You do have children?
Yes, they're older. One's 19 and one is 15.
Okay.
And I want to get on that wagon. Let's show an example.
Right.
Let's be united. But I can't because that was an argument.
Right. But, Linda, so he believes in Christ. I think I heard you say that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know I can relate for many years, actually 10, 11 years. It's a very lonely experience for a spouse to go every Sunday to Mass. I mean, especially when you're looking around. I'm sure you can relate to this, Linda. You look around the church and you see all these couples and families and you're thinking, that should be me. My husband should be standing next to me, and my kids should be there, and it can be very, very just lonely, and you can just feel like, wow, I'm out there kind of floating. But one thing that I had a wonderful nun tell me, and as a matter of fact, Linda, I didn't listen to her advice, and I wish I had, and it was great advice. And she said to me, rather than kind of setting it up as that you're going to be disappointed each weekend where you ask him to go and then he doesn't go and then you're disappointed, you leave the home, you just be the faith. You just live the faith with unbelievable joy and confidence. And eventually, he's on his own journey. He's on his own path, and it's in his own time and in God's time. And so, but by you continuing to have that that feeling of that you are embracing the faith, you're loving the faith, you're living the faith, it becomes something that is very attractive to him. This is what this sister told me, and I have a lack of patience. I have to tell you, and so for me it didn't work. I just wanted it right away. But I realize now that had I done that at the very beginning, and just have been 100% Catholic me, it would have been a lot more attractive to him at the beginning, rather than me setting it up as a disappointment. What do you think?
Right. I've learned that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, I my spirit is saddened, but I don't stay there long. I mean, every Sunday, of course, you want yourself to go, and I get a little bit sad, but I'm over it.
Right.
Yeah, and Linda, I think Debbie made it. I think Debbie's point is good. What I would do, and I'm not married, I've never been married. That's one of the things about this show. Debbie's got life experience that I don't have, and vice versa. And we're not experts in anything, but we just try and offer an encouraging word. And I would just say, maybe, like Debbie said, just be the faith, have this sort of matter-of-fact approach to it. And if you want to on Sundays, you can get up and fix him a cup of coffee and love all over him and say, I love you so much. You're just awesome. Hey, by the way, I'm leaving for Mass in an hour if you want to go. And then just, leave it at that and be about your day. And like Debbie said, he's going to see in you what that does for you, the fulfillment. You're going to be most fully who you are created to be when we draw closer to God. So there are some couple of parting thoughts for you, Linda, there, and we'll let you go on that and get to some of these other folks. But thanks, Linda. We'll be praying for you.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, Anne's up next in Detroit, Michigan, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Anne. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Anne.
Hi. Well, I just listened to your last caller, and I can relate to a lot of that, but I'll try to sum up me and my husband. We've been married over 30 years, and when we were married, we weren't evenly yoked. I was Catholic. A little lapsed at the time. He was Christian, non-Catholic, but we were also both divorced, and we married early, like 19 years old, and both our marriages ended in divorce. So consequently, for me at that time, I attempted annulment a couple times, and then I just kind of didn't follow through with it. Well, then I met him, and, how you say, fell in love, and this is it, and, let's get this in place and move forward. And I always felt a kinship, an importance to my Catholic faith. And I thought I could convince him later. Okay, so we did. We were married. We were married in a Lutheran church. We had children. I wanted to raise them Catholic. He really had no objection or strong feeling about it. So, I had the kids baptized, went to church. Pretty soon it was too hard for me to do alone. So I asked him, I says, hon, this is a lot for me to do on Sundays, and it's important, and I would like the kids to see that this is just not, mom's role, would you come? And he did. And years later, we sought the annulment process. Now, I know I'm talking about the cart before the horse, but we did seek that out at that time. New priest to come to the parish, and I thought, I just kind of felt like a connection with the priest, and that this is a good time to do this. That my husband would feel comfortable. So, and it began with RCIA. So really, he started the RCIA process before, and then the annulment came in, and we both had to pursue it because I was a Catholic. I was married in the Catholic Church. And even though he wasn't a Catholic, he was married in the Catholic Church. So we both had to pursue the annulment process, and we did, and we were successful. And so on our 18th wedding anniversary, our marriage was convalidated in the Catholic Church. Okay, so are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
here. In fact,
So,
Ann, this is hold on one second, Ann. We've got an immovable little pause here. We've got to let our stations, for their sake, we have a break at this time every day that we can't move. So just hold on just for a minute, and we will hear more of that. And it's sounding beautiful to me. It's going in a good direction, and we hope and pray that is the way it's going to end up as you continue on the other side of this break. But Debbie, we're going to have an open phone line. They're all full right now. We'll get to many more of our callers here momentarily, but already we can see that this is something that really is touching upon a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, this is real life, and that's what this Take Two is all about. We take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us, and we're talking today about if you're married to a spouse who is devoutly Catholic, 100% Catholic, what's it like for you? We want to kind of peek into your household and see what it's like. So stay with us on Take Two. We'll be right back.
EWTN News Nightly with Lauren Ashburn.
If you're a Catholic and you're watching cable news or network news, you're getting your news on the internet, how often do you read Catholic-based stories? Not that often. Here at News Nightly, you can get the national news with a Catholic perspective, and it is so valuable for Catholics to be able to see the world through that perspective.
EWTN News Nightly with Lauren Ashburn. Weekdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck. I'm here with author Michaeline Friedenberg. We just finished doing an interview on her new book, Grief and Abortion, Creating a Safe Place to Heal. What's this book about, Michaeline?
Well, this book is specifically for those individuals who want to help somebody who's been impacted by abortion. And so it's going to give them an idea of what someone goes through, what the grieving process looks like, what the healing process looks like, and how they can be the most effective in helping them.
So is this for people then who want to get involved with that kind of post-abortive healing with others?
You know, it's actually more for those leaders who already are in contact with people who may be hurting, and so they're not going to become an expert in the area, but they want to be able to, at least in those initial contact, be able to effectively help them and then be able to make an appropriate referral.
Very good. Michaeline Friedenberg. We'll look for the entire interview, Grief and Abortion, Creating a Safe Place to Heal, available through the EWTN Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
Did you know there are more than 50 locations throughout the United States where the remains of aborted boys and girls have been buried? This is Eric Scheidler, Executive Director of the Pro-Life Action League. I'd like to invite you to take part in the 5th Annual National Day of Remembrance for Aborted Children on September 9th. On that day, pro-lifers across the country will hold solemn prayer vigils at the grave sites of aborted children, as well as other sites consecrated to their memory. Visit abortionmemorials.com to find the National Day of Remembrance prayer service nearest you.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, talking with Ann. Ann is with us in Detroit. By the way, just real quick, Ann, if you'll allow me, we heard that brief bookmark minute with Doug Keck talking to the author about her book on abortion. And Debbie, just wanted to give our listeners a heads up. Tomorrow, we're going to invite calls and takes and really try and help everybody who has been touched by abortion. We're calling the show tomorrow After Abortion. So if you have had an abortion experience, maybe you are post-abortive yourself, maybe you encouraged a woman to get an abortion, or in any way whatsoever, if abortion has touched your life, we want to have, God willing, a blessed conversation about it and really bring hope and maybe, Debbie, a little bit of healing into people's lives. So just wanted to give folks a little heads up on what tomorrow's show is going to be about.
Going to be a powerful show. Okay, so Ann, thanks so much for waiting. Just rewind about 10 seconds, but kind of give us just we are presuming the beautiful ending to this wonderful story.
Okay, so our marriage was convalidated on our 18th wedding anniversary, but we've been married 33 years. You know, we had our kids. They were baptized, received communion, confirmation, all that. Went to public school, but they went to religious ed. I was even a teacher. So the husband, we go to church faithfully. I'm the one. I mean, there's times he works on Sundays. He may not, but he does come. He's a very good Catholic, although I feel I'm the leader. But so it really kind of comes down now to the kids, and like one of my children is married and has 2 children, and the oldest one is 3. Well, it came up, well, are you going to have Jimmy baptized? Well, like her spot, so she was raised Catholic. She went to college. I don't know what happened. They were married. They were even married in the Catholic Church, but not asking about baptism, oh, well, they're going to let them decide that, what they want to do when they get older. Now, Debbie, I heard before you took on my call, and I could kind of relate that to the one lady who, get up, I'm going to Mass today. Would you like to go with me with the spouse? Okay, I'm kind of going more into the kids, but I've invited them to church. They do live distances away, so it's not practical every Sunday, but I bring things up to them. I've invited them to other events, non-church events. Getting back to my daughter, I've tried talking to her. She gets upset if I bring this up. Mm-hmm. I've tried to be patient. I pray. As a mother, you're a little impatient,
Sure.
but
Sure.
I don't know if I should bring it up, if I'm nagging, or I think she feels torn between her husband and me, and I mean their marriage is the most important thing, so I would not want to do anything.
Her husband's not Catholic, Ann?
Correct.
Oh, he's not. Is he practicing at all a Christian faith?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
I think. Well, I mean, I could go into.
Right.
I mean, he was brought up Christian, or the bottom line there, his parents divorced when he was a young boy, and he said he prayed that Dad would come back, and he never did. So that's an issue right there.
Okay. Right. Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't understand. He says my daughter, she can do whatever she wants. So I feel if she did, go to church, and that maybe he would see that and follow, like my husband did with me. That's what I'm kind of getting to. But she's not doing what I did.
Okay, so Anne, here's the thing. She's taking the path of least resistance, and she's trying to keep domestic harmony in her house. And so that the kind of new wave of thinking is let the children decide when they get older. I will tell you, just from religious education and from many, many priests that have come in and spoken about this at the classes that I was the director of, when you offer children an opportunity to choose what they want to be when they get older, they choose nothing. The average child chooses nothing. Reason why is because it's just the relationship is not being built with God, so there's no, well, what's the need to be baptized? Hey, I grew up, I'm 10, 12, 13, 14 years old. Everything seems fine. Why do I need to be baptized? Then you add the added layer of if one of the parents is Catholic and the other one is not, if the child chooses to be baptized in the Catholic Church, they're basically choosing one parent over the other. See, there's a disconnect in the family. What this one, I had a very wise priest who was also a social worker by trade, and he actually would say that the best thing to do is exactly the first advice that we gave to Linda, is that Anne, you and your husband live the faith and invite the grandchildren in as much as you possibly can and let them develop that relationship with God, and your daughter to see that as well. And hopefully through the prayer and through you living the faith, that it will sort of drip on them, if you will, the relationship will build. And this was the advice that was given by this wonderful priest, because he said you can't, like you said, you can't force it. And sometimes if you do try to force it or you rush it, you're actually you could be pushing your children away. So it's a difficult situation. But I can tell you this, Anne, you're not alone. It's a very common situation, but I've seen it work out quite nicely, where eventually the mother or the father will allow the grandparents to really be a religious educator of the children. And that's a beautiful thing, because I don't know, what do you think, Jerry?
No, I agree very, very much. Fantastic advice. And I hope that helps you there. We have a lot of other folks here, and it's a beautiful story, especially about how you and your husband together seem to be, of more one mind and heart than maybe your daughter and her husband. We're going to pray for that, and especially for the sake of the kids. I just echo what Debbie said. I think it's a disservice. It's an injustice, actually, in a way. If it's not important enough for you to impart it to your kids when they're growing up, then then like Debbie said, they're going to kind of look at it as maybe tangential to their life, or maybe just an add-on, or some sort of thing that they don't really need to embrace later in life. But we're going to pray, and we're going to pray for all of them and all of our listeners. So thank you so much for being with us here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. That will open up a line here momentarily, 1-800-585-9396.
Jerry, we just got an alert on. Did you see the alert that came up on your computer? The eclipse is now passing right now. Don't look, Jerry, don't look outside the window. You just looked outside. Don't do that.
The sun is on the other side of the house.
All right. Just want to make sure. See, we're on YouTube and Facebook Live. Please don't look at the sun if you don't have those protective approved glasses. I had heard that a bunch of the glasses are not approved, so don't be looking at the sun. Please, we want to save your eyesight. Okay. Tamara? We're going to Tamara.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrew is up next right after Tamara. Andrew, so don't go anywhere. Go ahead, Deb.
Hi, Tamara in Charleston, West Virginia. Welcome to Take Two.
Thank you. I have a very similar situation even to the last two calls. My husband and I have been married over 30 years. We raised 3 children. We buried one in 2011. And when I was born into a Catholic family and baptized and had my first confirmation and confirmed, but my parents weren't really active in the church, so I fell away too. When I met my husband, he was a devout Southern Baptist, and we were married, and I went to the Baptist church with him for 20 years. And I liked it. I read the Bible through. I taught Sunday school, very active. But then about 10 years ago, I felt a pull back to the Catholic Church, and I just wasn't satisfied in the Baptist church anymore. And so I have been attending my local parish for the last 10 years. Well, just last year, my husband started coming with me. And although he doesn't take communion because he doesn't believe it's really the body and blood, and he doesn't participate in the traditions, at least he's coming with me. And I wish that things had been different when I was younger. I wish that I'd been a better Catholic, but I wasn't, and I wasn't in that environment. And I hope that God can forgive me for that. But I'm doing the best I can now to be a good Catholic. I go to Mass, I go to adoration, I pray the rosary, and I read the Mass every day. And I just, I wish it were different, but it's not.
Right. Well, Tamara, have you talked to a priest, maybe in the Sacrament of Reconciliation, and just kind of let this go? Because it sounds like you're carrying this, and you don't see, God doesn't, he's not counting, he's not looking at your past. He's looking at what you're doing in this present moment. So have you reconciled that within yourself? Because by you carrying that, that's kind of added baggage you don't need to carry into your faith walk.
I have, I've confessed. When I've been to confession, I've said, I'm sorry for the sins of youth and sins of the past, and he absolves me of that. But I feel bad because my children, my youngest is 25, and she doesn't know if she's Protestant or Catholic, and she'll go to both churches. But
so you're carrying guilt over that. Yeah, you're carrying guilt over that. Okay. Well, here's the thing, though. You're not alone. Every parent out there, we carry some kind of guilt of something we should have, would have, could have done with our children. So that's the good news. You're not alone in that situation. But you have, from this point forward, like you said, you and your husband are going to church together. You are building that, and it's centered around Christ. And if you constantly bring that Christ-centeredness into your family, it will spread. It will just happen. The good Lord has a wonderful way in his time and his purpose and his plan to make it unfold. It may not be even in our lifetime. We may not see it. Look at St. Monica. I mean, she prayed forever for St. Augustine. Okay? And finally, he came in and he became a great saint. But here's the thing. You can do that now because you at least have those building blocks in place. So it's a beautiful thing you've got, and you've got to, in my opinion, you got to start from here and look forward. What do you think, Jer?
Yeah, you know what comes to my mind, Tamara? I suspect that you and your husband have done this. Married couples do this on particular anniversaries. Maybe some do it every year, and that is renew wedding vows. Well, when a couple renews their wedding vows, it takes you back to that first love, that wedding day. And if like I say, I've never been married, but I assume it also sort of mentally is sort of cleansing in the sense of it washes the slate clean and says, hey, this is like a new beginning. We're beginning again. This is like going back to the start. I would encourage you in your relationship with Jesus to do that. Say, Lord, today, where I am in my life today, like Debbie said, the past is the past. If you knew the mistakes that I've made in my life,
and me,
and Debbie, and all of us, Tamara, but the thing to focus on is where you are right now. Exactly. And just say, Lord, I'm in love with you right now, and today is a new day. It's a new start. And just, say, past, you are out of my life. I can't do anything about you, and I'm not going to fret over you. I am simply going to just fall deeper in love with Jesus every day. And as you do that, everyone who knows you is going to see that, and they're going to want what you have. So just, I don't know, does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. And, when I called, that wasn't really what was on my heart, but you two picked it up by what I said, and so I appreciate that. And I know I'm a better person than I was 10 years ago, and things that used to bother me don't bother me anymore. But I, you kind of drew that out of me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, be free, Tamara. Be free, because God wants you to have that freedom and that abundant life in Christ. And so many times we weigh ourselves down. We don't forgive ourselves. We're the ones that do it. It's not God who's saying, why are you doing this? We're the ones doing it. We're our own worst enemies sometimes. So, yeah. But Jerry and I are right with you, though, just so you know.
Well, thank you. And I know, I'll just add one more thing. If I had not been back in the Catholic Church when my son died, I would not have handled it the same. I know I wouldn't have. And I've never been angry, never been angry at God for what happened. I never felt that way for 1 second. And so I think that's another reason God put me back in the church.
Yeah, you had your faith, you had your family, the faith family as your anchor. Are you okay with imparting your son's first name so we can add him to our book? We would love to add him to our permanent prayer book.
Yeah, his name is Toby, the same named after my husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toby is in our prayer book, and the good news is we have prayer warriors just going round the clock praying for those that are living and deceased. So I hope that brings you some comfort as well.
It will. Every time I see a statue of the Blessed, well, not every time, but very frequently when I see a statue of the Blessed Mother, I say, Mary, give my son a hug and kiss for me. Tell him I love him and I miss him.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
and she does. And she does.
Yeah, she's his mother in heaven now. So
let her bring that hug and kiss from him back to you too, Tamara. What do you think?
Oh, nice. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bless you, Tamara. We'll be in touch. Call us again, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, bless
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye, Tamara.
All right, Andrew, you are a man of God. You are a patient man. You have been on the line for a while. We're going to go to you next, listening on the Station of the Cross in Albany, New York. Andrew, thanks for your patience, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. How are you, sir?
Hi, I'm doing so well, and thank you so much for having me on. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Today's topic is obviously pretty sensitive for people, and I just wanted to let the listeners know, and I'm going through a similar process as to the two callers ago. Unfortunately, a 10-year marriage is ending legally, and I'm working on the annulment. And, just to kind of impart to people, you can't control another person. I felt so alone in my faith. My ex-wife and I were married in the church. We're both confirmed Catholics, practicing. But sometimes if you're feeling a downslide as an individual and you're feeling like a loss of faith, well, sometimes you can pull that other person with you and accidentally. And then when you're feeling a growth in faith, well, now you really got to rev up the troops on the other side of the marriage and say, come on, I want to go back. Let's explore this church and so on. And then, well, they don't want to. And I found I had actually soured her to some aspects of the Catholic faith, which I've confessed for those sins and I've been forgiven. But the reality is to be just very careful, and to know that you just want to come to know the Lord fully for yourself, but you can't control other people. And if you are yourself feeling a relationship with Jesus, this is huge. You know, I can't tell you how many dark years I spent without feeling Christ at all. And unfortunately, the return to church threatened my life, and faith was one of the many matters on which we disagreed. But we're supposed to be liberated, right, by Christ who died for our sins. It's supposed to be a liberating love. And so I'm liberated now, and I'm going into a process of discernment with my local diocese. You know, my faith has grown 100, 10-fold, 100-fold. But, you know, I tried to evangelize at home. It didn't work. I got soured. It turned her sour. And then when I was coming back around to the church, thanks be to God for that, with the wonderful community of the diocese, she had been soured. And guess who did it? I did it. I had soured her. So grow in your faith, you know, and grow with the Lord. Come to know yourself fully with the Lord, but you can't help other people. I mean, you can help them, but you can't control other people, you know.
Right. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Deb.
I was just going to say, Andrew, you said you were listening when we were talking to Tamara, and I just want to say again, because those of us who have been in marriages or in a long marriage and we're trying to watch it grow and evolve, I mean, we've all made mistakes, whether they were conscious mistakes or unconscious mistakes. But I will tell you, the sooner we let that go, maybe like you said, maybe confess it and let it go, the better off we are, because otherwise it holds us back in that place, and we never fully mature as Christians. So I want to just encourage you that during this beautiful annulment process that you're in right now, because I went through it, 18 months long, it's a beautiful healing time. It's a great time for you to get to know yourself and to get to know what's important to you, like you were sharing your faith. And then God willing, whatever God calls for you after that, you're coming into it in a better place. And that's where I believe God is going to judge us on. He's not going to, I think if we're willing to learn and grow, and we're willing to make amends, and we're willing to improve, I think there's merit in that, and I think there's blessings in that, and I don't believe that we have a God that is going to say, okay, I'm going to chalk up every little thing you've done in the past, and I'm going to hold it against you. To me, I don't believe that. I believe we have a merciful God who's going to say, you're trying, you're improving, you're getting closer to me, and I'm going to bless you for that. What do you think?
That's the only way to move forward. That's moving forward with Christ's love in your heart. And you don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You just model that behavior, and you just, you know, have faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of those is love. And we spread it from person to person, house to house, community to community. And don't worry if other people do or don't sign on to it. Just be happy in the Lord yourself. I'm working on getting my son baptized. He's 5. Unfortunately, his mother and I couldn't agree on the criteria. I wanted confirmed practicing Catholics, and she wanted confirmed Catholics who may or may not practice. So this is an age-old, you know, debate. And so here we have a 5-year-old who loves Mary. He brings flowers to Mary every other Sunday. We have a grotto that someone gave us for free at our house. All these wonderful things. The kid's not baptized, and he's feeling sad and left out of the club, so we have to get on it and get on it quick. And I talked to my priest, and he said, just, here are the rules. Those are the church's rules. Let go of the extra things. The important thing is to bring your son to Christ through baptism, right? Get it done. So all the other sacraments flow forward from that. And I think baptism inside of a marriage, what you're talking about today, is a hot topic.
Right. It is, Andrew, and many other things related to that. But I just really can't add much to what Debbie said there. You can be assured of our prayers. Again, as Debbie said, God's got the next chapter of your life already. I'm sure you've gone through whatever steps you can with your wife to see if their reconciliation is possible. It sounds like maybe that is not the case, but our prayers will be with her too. We're going to pray for both of you, because two enter into it, and when things like this happen, 2 lives are affected, and we just really want God's grace and peace and healing to be with both of you. So thanks, Andrew, for your encouraging words today. Really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. Are we getting to the religious catalog? Do we have time?
Yeah, well, actually, why don't we get to Mary, and then we can just slip that in right at the end.
Okay, sounds good to me. Okay, Mary, Mary in Richland, Washington, listening to EWTN. Hi, Mary. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, Debbie. I love you and Jerry on Take Two. I wish you guys were on for 2 hours. You're better than Kelly or whatever, But no, what I was going to say was, my husband and I were both Catholic, but he was older than I was, and he had a hard time with the nuns. So it didn't matter, because I was raised to where, I just went to church, and it looked like I was a single parent. And thank God for the cry booths and they have in the churches. And I used to take, that's before they had the real good pumpkin seats. I used to take my one and carry him, and then I'd carry the pumpkin seat, and that's before they had the good, bags. But the one thing I wanted to say was, my son went to church up until like first grade, and then as soon as my husband could, he got him out of there. And I really wish that, and by listening to EWTN, I've learned so much in such a short time. I listened to you guys 24 hours because my house burned down in January. Oh. And I had lost Mark, my baby, but he was 6'6", and right after 9/11, and my husband was decapitated in '94, and I thank God because I've learned so much, and I just wanted to thank you. But the one thing is that he did it so fast where he took Richie out of school, but Mark he stayed true to his faith, and Richie did too, but I don't know how to say it except that I've learned so much from you, and I thank you. I wish you were on 2 hours instead of Take Two. I wish you had to. But
Mary,
I love you guys.
Well, we love you too, Mary. Your words are very kind, but we thank God for our little piece of the EWTN daily clock and all of the other shows which are doing so much good, and bless your heart that you have access to those, Mary. And we're going to pray for all of your family, your husband. You mentioned your son. We're going to pray for you, Mary, and God bless you for what you did, keeping your kids close to the faith, close to church, close to God. And those seeds, Debbie, are certainly going to bear great fruit in their lives, no question.
I was just going to say that. And Mary, you are so living up to your name, Mary. You are. You are a beautiful, strong woman of faith. And as you were speaking, I was feeling the Holy Spirit. And I just believe, Mary, I feel it so strongly. You just wait till eternity. You're holding on to that faith, and that is you're a hero of ours. Thank you. Thank you again for the kind words, and know that prayers are with you all around you, because you have the Take Two family praying round the clock. Thanks, Mary. God bless you. Peter, I wish we could have gotten to you. You can always email us at take2@ewtn.com. We'd love to hear your story. Don't forget to visit EWTNRC.com for more resources. You listen to EWTN, you can always go to the religious catalog and pick up more resources. Formation happens all the way until you take your last breath. Don't forget, EWTNRC.com.
Yeah, and like EWTN Catholic Radio on Facebook and Jerry and Debbie on Facebook. It's the ampersand, Jerry and Debbie. And don't forget tomorrow's show, After Abortion. We want to hear from anyone whose life has been impacted by abortion so we can help others who are still struggling with that. Until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day.